right, good morning. The Committee on Parole is reconvening. We're now at Allen Correctional Center. It is Tuesday, April 4th, 2023. The time is 10:07 a.m. For the state, Allen, please introduce yourself to the record.
Deputy Warden Thompson.
Crystal Simon, Assistant Warden.
Okay, thank you. And we have our first case. That's Mr. Hilton. Mr. Hilton, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your DOC number.
William C. Hilton Jr., 152282.
All right, Mr. Hilton, my name is Cheryl Renatza. I'm serving as chairman of today's panel. Seated to my left is Mr. Roche. To my right is Mr. Freeman. Before we get started, I want to acknowledge the folks who have joined us today. We have with us representing the victim, Jackie Valley, and her friend Rosie Valley. We also have a representative from the DA's office in Vernon Parish, Ms. Lavispira. We'll hear from Ms. Jackie and Ms. Lavispira at the appropriate time they want to speak. First, I'll read some identifying information into the record, and we'll have a parole interview with you. We'll hear from the warden there, and then we'll hear from folks that have indicated they want to speak. And at the very end, before we vote, you'll be allowed to make a statement if you want to do so. You understand that process?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. William Hilton, as mentioned, your DOC number is 152282. You're classified as a third felony offender. You're currently serving a 49.5-year sentence, having been sentenced in in Vernon Parish, 1st January of 2003. Third offense, operating a vehicle while intoxicated. You received a 3-year sentence. Then in Vernon Parish in July of 2003, as a habitual offense for armed robbery, you received a 49.5-year sentence. You do have a parole eligibility date, which was November the 4th, 2022. You have a good time date, January 16, 2052, and full term date is May the 4th, 2052. Is all that information correct, Mr. Hilton?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hilton, how old are you, sir?
62.
62. How long have you been in jail on this 49.5-year sentence? How long have you been in?
A little over 20, ma'am.
Well, over 20 years.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
you've been at Allen how long?
About 5 years, right around 4 or 5 years.
Okay. I see it's since March of 2018, so right at 5 years. So as I look at your criminal history, I see priors. You have a prior 1981 in Arkansas for theft, 1992 in Oberlin for possession of marijuana, 1998 simple burglary. I think you were revoked on that. In 2000, DWI third and other misdemeanor offenses. And on that, it looks like you were released on good time. And less than a week later, you had this DWI arrest, another DWI third arrest. So what was going on in your life, Mr. Hilton, with the substance abuse issues?
Honestly, ma'am, it was drugs. I mean, I was doing cocaine, which is the worst thing anybody can do. And it just wouldn't let go. I couldn't get rid of it.
How old were you when you started using illegal substances?
About 15 or 16, ma'am.
You started out with cocaine?
No, ma'am, that was early 20s.
So what'd you start out with?
Marijuana.
And cocaine?
Then cocaine, yes, ma'am.
Did you abuse alcohol also at the same time?
Yes, ma'am. There was always beer around.
Just beer, no other type of liquor?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever received any treatment?
I've tried, I went through some classes like at Phelps. I went through a class, but I don't have any treatment for anything.
You were on the street, after your first or second DWI, you never got any
No, ma'am.
treatment?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Truthfully, I can't answer that truthfully, Ms. Renata. If I was younger, I didn't, I don't know if it's the age or having grandbabies or somebody just throwing you away. And all that's from you yourself causing the problems. But I don't want, it took this to get me to realize what I'm missing.
So you didn't think you had a problem, is that what you're saying?
At the time, I didn't, Ms. Renata, but it's a problem. It's a big problem.
Are you a drug addict?
I always have been.
You alcoholic?
I can say yes to that. Yes, ma'am.
Doesn't sound like you're convinced.
Oh, I'm
So,
convinced.
having said all that, sir, let's talk about what kind of programs. You've been in jail 21 years. And the DOC had lots of program opportunities. What programs have you been able to take advantage of to address your addiction?
Living in balance at Phelps. I took it there. But some of the classes I've tried to get into here, you can't get into some of them because of the amount of time you have.
So let's see, when were you at Phelps? Let me look real quick. You remember when you took Living in Balance?
No, ma'am, I can't be honest on that. I don't know. It was,
Phelps, you were at Phelps first in 2004.
yes, ma'am. I went
So what'd
there
you get out of that program?
ma'am.
What did you learn?
It's you learn a lot talking, just talking, you learn a lot, but it's an addiction, and unless you can admit it and ask for help, there's nothing they can teach you that's gonna help you. You've got to realize that you need the help.
That's what you learned. So what programs there at Allen are offered for substance abuse issues?
I think Living in Balance is here. I don't know if they've got is it a Life in Focus?
Well, let me rephrase the question, sir. Maybe I didn't ask it right. What programs have you asked to be enrolled in to address your substance abuse addiction?
Oh, Living
Being at Allen.
Living in Balance.
And are you on backlog for Living in Balance, or what did they tell you about Living in Balance?
They told me at the time they could put me on backlog, but I had too much time to get into the class right now. I had to wait, and that's,
Sure. What about AA meetings? Is that an option for you? Do they have those programs there, those meetings?
I think they have some type of AA or NA. I've got to talk to the chaplain on that. I'm not real sure about it. I think that was something to do with the life or something I'd filled out a couple of years ago. I'm not real sure on that.
All right. You have, let's see, let's talk about your conduct. You have, what I see is you have only 8 disciplinary write-ups in your record in 21 years. That's not too bad. The last was in 2019 for work offense. You just got a reprimand, so that must not have been a very serious offense. There was one in 21, but that was dismissed. You have you score out, let me see, you score out as a low risk to reoffend, but you have some needs. You have high needs in terms of your substance abuse, which is concerning to me. You've not really seemed to have done anything to address that issue. Let me ask the Warden Thompson, is there anything you can tell us about Mr. Hilton?
Well, I definitely can say yes, ma'am. Hilton is a hard worker around your facility. He get a lot of things done, heavy equipment. He's highly involved in a lot of the operation that goes on around the prison, trying to make sure this place stay running correctly. My personal opinion is that I really believe that he really needs continual extensive substance abuse treatment. It's the only way he's actually going to survive.
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Hilton, any other questions? I don't see any other questions by my colleagues, so we'll go ahead and hear from the folks who indicated they'd like to speak. Ms. Lancaster, I'll let you decide. Would you prefer Ms. Jackie to speak before you wrap it up? Are you able? Go ahead. There's no doubt that you are not. Probation. Why do I have to explain the reasons that I desire to tell you I'm scared to death? All those things important. Protect my neighbor. Oh, I feel the valley. It's 29 minutes. Not only a roadblock, stuff. Trouble with the law since he was 17 years old. It's in my heart, I believe them, they can be fine. Unfair. I have to see things anytime you want to get out. He took 30 time. The word is still safe. It's protecting my community. I promise. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Long. Thank you, ma'am. I get to that, so we ask them to stand in. Right. You're in the office. This happened on November 1st, 2002, at 7:40 p.m. in the park. In fact, it was the night that Halloween was being celebrated because it fell on the fire. Two men walked in. This storm She owned. He was in the back with some Ford. They had on white masks over their head. At first, she thought nothing of it. This is Halloween, not a big problem. He soon realized it wasn't a big problem. He grabbed a knife to try to defend herself. He came at her with his knife. That being was different. He dropped her knife in the pan. Then grabbed her and held the knife and first blood chipped while she tried to open the cash register back from the guy's first one open and cleaned it out. Then he falls down. He jerks her up off the floor. He makes her open the second leg. And she finally leaves with that money. They catch him later. That's the beginning of a nightmare. It's still a woman. Live with it. He lost her business. He was unable to function. He took her self-esteem. He took her pride. And a deal is a deal. He made a deal. This was a plea agreement. It wasn't a trial. He made a deal. Now he wants to change it. He received benefits as part of the plea deal. Several other serious felony charges were dismissed as a result of this agreement. It did benefit. Judge addressed the defendant in great detail about the plea for armed robbery. Part of the plea was that he was only going to be sentenced as a second felony conviction. Could have been sentenced as a third, but was not, because that was when his sentence obtained. He also agreed that he would be sentenced to the minimum sentence of 49.5 years as a habitual felon. While he's been in jail, he has done nothing to address himself. He's attended one class back in around 2004. He's not even sure they offer AA classes or NA classes. He's done nothing to help. He's completed no pre-release classes except for the mental. He violated parole numerous times when he was previously granted parole on another offense. Multiple times he violated that parole. He also violated prison rules as well while he's been incarcerated. Still have not learned to form the rules. And the judge also stated at the time of his sentence that he is not subject to diminution for good behavior. That's in the sentencing transcript. That's not part of the plea. At the time of the plea, the judge made sure that the person understood that by pleading guilty, that the sentence was going to be without benefit of parole, probation, or extension of sentence. Mr. Hilton acknowledged this on the record, which is in the type transcript that proceeded. Here today, he is asking to change the deal. A deal is a deal. This lady accepted the deal. This victim accepted the deal. He accepted the deal. Now he wants to change it. But her detriment. I ask the Lord to please deny. No.
Thank you, Ms. Lansbury. Mr. Hilton,
Is there a statement you'd like to make to the panel before we vote?
Ma'am, I just like to say it. We can't change what we've done. None of us can. Sometimes it takes a certain thing to make you realize that's not right. The things I did weren't right. I cannot change that. I can't take that back. All I can do is try to better myself and help the others out there that are in the same position I've been in. Because I know what can happen. I just want a chance to help them.
All right, thank you, sir. Panel prepared to vote?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Hilton will be voting now, and I'll be voting first. I hear what you're saying. I hope that you have the opportunity to help others. I think that perhaps you could do that within the environment you're in. I agree with Warden Thompson that I think you need some intensive substance abuse treatment. Based on the opposition that you heard today, that's been expressed here today, we have also opposition from the judge and law enforcement that's reflected in the record. We have a history of revocation. My vote today is going to be to deny the parole. I'm just one vote. Will ask Mr. Roche.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Hilton, as an offender, you agree to the sentence that you served. As part of that deal, you said you would serve 49 years, I think 6 months. I think you need to stick to that agreement. You have a life of rehabilitative program. You have a substance abuse problem, and you hadn't addressed it. You have adamant opposition from the victim who's still suffering emotionally, mentally, and physically because of that crime. I understand from my information that store could not be run by the owner and has never reopened simply because of the crime that you committed. The judge, the DA's office, law enforcement, the Vernon Parish is adamantly opposed to your early release. There is poor supervision in history. You've not done well on supervision. In your prior criminal history, for all the above reasons I've just articulated, I deny your request.
Mr. Fraven.
I concur with my colleague and I also vote to deny. Definitely needs long-term drug treatment.
All right, Mr. Hilton, today you received a unanimous vote. You've both been denied, sir. Good luck to you.
Ma'am.
The other